All right, mindset shift number 6, understand what a real asset is. Now, we're all taught wrong about assets and liabilities, okay? And I remember the first time I really, like I was at school, they talked a bit about it, but I didn't really matter to me. I remember the first time I really was done through Defence Force Credit Union car loan application, right? I remember sitting there and I remember the form that said, fill out your assets and liabilities. And I said to the manager, I said, what's the definition of an asset and a liability? She said, well, an asset is something you've got you can sell for money. So like your clothing and your CD collection and stuff. I was like, righto. And the CD collections were worth money back then. And then she said, and liabilities are any bills, any debts you have, like, you know, if you already have a credit card debt or anything like that. I was like, okay, no worries. And right there and then I was taught that assets are things you've got that you can sell for money. And that is part of it, right? That is the first criteria. But some assets make you rich and some assets will make you poor, okay? And there's for a real asset will make you rich, okay? And there's 2 very important additional criteria for a real asset. Make sure you write this down. It must go up in value, not down, and it must produce an income, not take money out of your wallet, right? So think about it. If the stuff you own is going down in value, are you getting richer or poorer? And if the stuff you own is costing you money, where you have to contribute some of your paycheck every fortnight towards maintaining it, are you getting richer or poorer? Right? But if the stuff you own is going up in value, you're getting richer. And if the stuff you own is bringing in money and providing a bit of a passive income, you're getting richer, okay? And it's really, really important. Now let's run a few things by this criteria. Car, is it of value? Yes, it is. And people would list their cars as assets. Stop thinking your car is an asset, it's a liability, because it goes down in value and it sucks money out of your purse, all right? Out of your wallet, okay? Registration, insurance, servicing, new tires, right? Petrol, cars cost money. All right, cars are a liability. How many people do you know got rich by owning cars? Your own home, of value? Yes. Goes up in value? Yes. Good. Well, that's good, right? But it still sucks money out of your wallet, okay? You'll still have to have a source of income from somewhere else to maintain that home, even when it's mortgage free. What about an investment property? It's of value, goes up in value, just like a house is a house is a house, right? The difference is whether you live in it or not. If you don't live in it and you rent it out, it produces an income. It produces a rent return and it produces a tax return, right? Which is very important. Now, what else could meet the criteria of a real asset? Jump on the question box. Tell me, what else could you buy that meets that criteria? What else can you buy that meets that criteria? Okay, Kelly said gold, and this is a good one. So gold is of value and it goes up in value, but it doesn't produce an income, Kelly. In fact, you have to pay a fee to store your gold, right? So gold is actually a liability in a sense, right? And that fee is minimal, but the only way you can get income out of, and the key thing about the income is really important, because if your assets don't produce an income, you'll have to sell them to get the money out. I'll say that again. If your assets don't produce an income, you'll have to sell them to get the money out. And then you're effectively getting poorer in order to generate an income. You're cannibalizing your asset portfolio, right? And that's bad, all right? Shares is it. Okay, the next one. So, okay, not a boat. Yes, correct, Nathan. Not a boat. Boats are a lifestyle decision. In fact, if I ever buy a boat again, I will call it Lifestyle Decision. That will be the name. Okay, it'll be called Lifestyle Decision. Either that or Unsinkable too, which is probably the funniest boat name I've ever heard of. Anyway, okay, shares. Now, shares are a real asset. Okay, they are the third best asset, and I'll tell you real asset. I'll tell you why. But the shares, they go up in value, generally speaking, and they do pay an income, and that income is what's called a dividend, right? So a dividend is when a company makes a profit, it has to do something with that money. And the management of that company has to decide what they're going to do. Now, they've got 2 choices, really. They can reinvest that profit back into the business. They can pay bonuses to high-performing staff. They can buy out the competition. They can invest in research and development. They can expand their equipment, their factories, the mine, whatever. And they can raise the value of the company by reinvesting that money. Or they can pay a dividend to the shareholders. So if they decide to pay X amount of money and you own 1/10,000 of the business, then you get 1/10,000 of the money they pay out. That's called a dividend. Okay. Now, the only problem with shares is that the dividends aren't guaranteed. Because you're a minority shareholder, you are not in control of the company. The management is in control. and the management decide where that money is getting distributed, right? And when any sort of serious economic times hit, guess what happens? It gets cut. So when coronavirus hit, all dividends got cut. All the big companies went, no dividends, shareholders. So too bad for you if you're retired on your dividends from your shares, and then all of a sudden, in the bad economic times, they've cut your income. It's not good. This is what happens to a lot of people, and it can be quite devastating for them. Okay, all right, and then they're forced to sell shares in order to get money, and then that can bring the price down because everyone's trying to sell their shares because there's no dividends getting paid. It's messy. But shares are a real asset by definition, and you know, we're going to talk a bit more about shares today. Okay, now there's business ownership. All right, business ownership is another class, and business ownership is where you are either the complete owner of the business or you have a controlling interest, like 51% of the company. And when you are the business owner, you can guarantee that the money gets paid to you because you're in charge, right? So you can go, yep, no, and business ownership. Now, everyone I know who's rich, and I know a lot of rich people, everyone I know who's rich, they have made their money in business and real estate, okay? Business and real estate. I do not know any share investors who are rich, okay? Very few of them, to be honest. And the reason for that is, and people say, oh, but what about Warren Buffett? Warren Buffett is not a share investor. Warren Buffett is a business owner. When he invests in a business, he takes a controlling interest. Berkshire Hathaway, his company, they'll take a controlling interest. They'll fire the people they don't like. They'll put their own people in. They'll, you know, change the business plan. They'll do all sorts of things like that. All right. Okay, so high interest savings. Yeah, no such thing at the moment, Stephen. But at the moment, inflation is much higher than interest on your money. So if you've got money in a savings account right now, for God's sake, do something with it because you are losing money in real terms.